loving the time of Hydra, the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. 10th anniversary podcast. Today we are taking it back to March 29th, 2016. On this day 10 years ago, the song was still, top song Still Work by Rihanna featuring Drake. This seems to continuously happen.
Yeah.
They like the same songs, the people do.
It makes me resent songs that I have no business resenting.
Yeah.
Like, just give me a new
You
one.
want to hear something new.
Yeah.
We do have a new movie, top movie of the domestic box office, though.
What's that?
It is Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice, which honestly I'm like, it feels older than 10 years, that movie.
Yeah, it does.
So that was a weird thing for me to see. An Egypt air flight was hijacked, but all the hostages were fine. So happy ending there.
Good.
That was good. A New York Times editorial called presidential candidate Donald Trump's remarks on foreign policy, quote, contradictory and shockingly ignorant. But we're not still dealing with that 10 years later. Brendan Gleeson turned 61. Amy Sedaris turned 55. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.'s own Lucy Lawless turned 48. But the most important thing that happened on this day 10 years ago was the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. episode Watchdogs, aired on ABC. Hi, I'm Jamie Girac, and I'm here with my co-host, boyfriend, and level 3 Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, Tony Paletta. Hi, Tony.
Hi, Jamie. Hi, everyone. Thank you all for watching and listening along. Good to be here.
Yes, we're so happy you're here. Sorry, I know I originally said that was going to be at noon. We switched back, and here we are at a normal time with a very exciting guest.
Yeah.
We're so happy to have her back. She was here last year, and we've got her again. You know her best from hosting We're Watching What?
What?
Dana Han Klein is here.
Hello to the Paper Princess and the Flapjack King.
Yes.
Oh, the Paper Princess and the Flapjack King. I guess you should give a little context, Hannah.
Yes, we a couple weeks ago went out to a bar restaurant where you can play games against other tables, and Tony is apparently a savant at some sort of a pancake flipping game, and Jamie is the queen of rock, paper, scissors, and it was always paper. So these are
that's my secret.
Yes, these are their new royal titles.
Yeah, very intense, very involving, because you're wagering against other tables. You're wagering alcohol. So you get sochu if you win. And I was a Flapjack King, and Jamie was my paper queen. And together we dominated the world.
Yeah, we drank a lot of soju. It was really
we won a lot of soju. I'm proud of
We sure did.
It was great. So happy you're here, Dana. It's been almost a year since you were last on. You were here last April talking the season 2 episode Frenemy of My Enemy. How was it to jump in a year later? Like, you've missed like a year, like you've watched the show, but it's been a while. So like a year of context is gone.
It has been 10 years since I have seen this episode, if not longer. Well, obviously not longer because it aired 10 years ago today. It's been close to 10 years. Yeah. And this is also, I didn't know if I should admit this before I came on, but like this is also when I was starting to waver on the show. Like season 3 is when I tapped out at season 4. And so I was like, oh, have I seen this episode? And if I had not factually known I'd seen the episode prior because of The Spies Goodbye and all that other stuff, I would have been like, there's no way I've seen this. So it required a little bit of homework for me to get back into it, but here we are, and I'm ready to discuss.
Amazing. We appreciate you for that. I've said it a million times on the show, but season 3 is my least favorite season. And this episode, like, it doesn't, I'll get into why it doesn't really do much for me, but Tony, how'd you feel about it?
I didn't like it very much.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not a very good episode. The one thing I will say about this is there's sort of, the Watchdogs are sort of ICE analogous, which I appreciated, being sort of like instantaneously villainizing them, but also depicting them as people who are disenfranchised, who are taking up this mantle because they ain't got no money. And so it's like a payday for them without any sort of allegiance beyond that. And so that was a cool element. But as a whole episode, I had a lot of issues.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Dana, what about you?
Oh, fuck ICE, by the way.
Of course. Fuck ICE. Yes. Yes. It was an honor to be asked back for what you called the Big Dip episode in terms of energy.
I did.
And I said, that's what friends are for. Here, I'm here in solidarity. To Tony's point, yes, it at least now it did almost take on like more resonance because of the parallels. And then, watching this season of Daredevil on Disney, there's obviously some like thematic crossover, and it just made me go like, oh God, why is this still like a storyline that is relevant to us 10 years later? And this is a less elegant version of it, but there are definitely some moments where like there was a line I wrote down and he goes, the brother goes, I go online. And I was like, that is this week's, that's like the modern equivalent of I do my own research, you know?
Yeah. 100%.
Like,
Yeah.
lingo for that. But yeah, not a great episode.
No, it's interesting because I do feel like a lot of the elements do hit harder now than they did 10 years ago, which is sad.
Yep.
But also for me, I think something I like in theory is the idea that we're focusing on Mac right after he lost his two best friends and like how he deals with that. But like all the stuff with the brother to me is kind of like a drag.
Yeah.
Like this brother is like dude, you're being a little bitch a lot of the episode. Like you're acting like a child or like maybe like a wife who isn't getting enough attention. Like, oh, don't you have your own life going on, man? There are elements though I do really like how the episode ties up with them together. But a lot of it does feel like this is just like we haven't seen Ward in 2 episodes now. And that's like the the big bad of what's going on. And it's just like let's get back to like the bigger stuff.
Yeah.
I do appreciate you let me skip a Ward episode because
you're welcome. Yeah.
Fuck Ice.
Fuck Ward. Yeah.
Ward would probably support Ice and be like, I don't support Ice. I just like really like the guy in charge of it. So I'm.
He has some good ideas.
Well, I mean, we all know how much Ward likes a commander daddy, so
exactly.
He for sure would.
He's got them issues.
Oof. I want to shout out everyone in the chat. Some news. Next week, we are not doing the show on our regular Sunday. We were doing it the day after, Monday, April 6th at 1 p.m. PT. And we're talking Space Time with Bjorn Johnson, who plays Charles Hinton in the episode. If you know Space Time, you know that like he's a great addition to that episode. I love that episode. It's one of my favorites, probably my second favorite of the season. So I'm very hyped that we got him on the pod. And I'm excited to talk to him.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk to the sketch. I don't know who he is. I have no context.
He's an actor.
You're gonna find
That's
out.
all you gotta know. Yeah.
Right.
You'll know in a whole week. Tony, just in case we have anyone new joining today, you want to tell them how this podcast works?
Yeah, we got some rules. So that just says tag your spoilers. I'm actually wearing my Protect Tony shirt today. I don't wear this a lot. I need to do laundry. So, but no, the idea is I'm watching this for the first time. Keep things spoiler free. Tag your comments with spoilers. If there's spoilers in them, hopefully there are people like me who are joining us live, who are going through this Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. journey fresh with me. So let's tag our spoilers to protect them and me.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Watchdogs, the episode we're discussing today, was directed by Jesse Batchko, who has done a lot of the show, including my favorite episode of the season, 4,722 Hours. This episode was written by friend of the show, Drew Z. Greenberg. So yeah, shout out to Drew. It featured the return of Titus Welliver as Felix Blake. We've been promised by Dana that she will do some Bosch impressions throughout the episode today. I've never watched Bosch. So,
I've never watched Bosch either.
Okay. I was like, anything I'd be like, good. That was a good Bosch impression.
Nailed it.
My dad watches Bosch, and I feel like it's a dad show. Like he had it on all the when he retired. He would just he put it on, and he does not watch. I mean, he watches TV, but he not like real into Bosch. So I was just like, hey, I know who that is. It's Bosch.
Dad programming.
Love it.
Yeah.
Titus does have a really cool filmography. Like he's been in a lot of
Titus, I really
things.
like anytime I see him, he's dope. He's a cool actor.
And then no, finish your sentence.
Oh, I was gonna say, I think he's besties with like Lawrence Fishburne.
Really?
Cool.
That's cool.
Lawrence Fishburne gave him an award this year at the Saturns, and I was like, they seem like they know each other and they like each other, so that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah.
We also let's see. This episode features Gaius Charles, who is playing Mac's brother. We've seen May's parents. We've obviously seen Daisy's parents, but I think this is the first time we've seen a sibling.
Yeah, and I was excited. I was like, oh, because Mac is already everybody's big brother.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see him just kind of filling that role in an actual familial way. But then it wasn't that great. But I like him. I like him when he's being like the wise Mac. Sweet wise Mac. It's good shit.
Yeah. I feel like they didn't do a great job casting someone who looks like Henry Simmons.
They did not.
What I'm so surprised, but maybe it's just because there's no one out there as attractive as Henry Simmons. It's impossible to cast someone to be equally as hot as him.
For a moment, I thought that maybe this was his son, But then as it went, I was like, oh no, the age doesn't make sense.
Oh.
But anyway, it popped into my head. I was like, oh, is this when Jamie realized Mac wasn't gay? Was it this episode?
No, I don't think age-wise that makes sense.
I mean, being gay is not going to stop you from having a son necessarily. It just makes a little
absolutely
more
true.
questions there, but
That's absolutely true.
Very true. Especially if you were as young as Mac would have had to have been.
To have fathered that child, yes.
Exactly. We already talked about how we felt about the episode. None of us love it, but that's okay. It's funny. It starts in Naperville, Illinois, which is like, having lived in Chicago for as long as I did, Naperville is like, a lot of people are from Naperville. It's like a big suburb of Chicago. And like a lot, if you're from, sometimes people from Naperville will like be like, I'm from Chicago. And it's like, no, you're not, you're from Naperville. Calm down. I feel like I've definitely been, I feel like I've performed some like bar prov in Naperville before.
So you're basically from Naperville.
Yeah. We learned that Mac's family calls him Alfie.
Alfie!
Let's take a moment to appreciate that.
Oh, we should be doing shots for that. No, I'm just kidding. We did that last season, the last episode.
Oh my goodness. Fixin' breaks with his brother. Okay, so I'm curious, Dana, tell me what you think about this. That like Mac's cover is that he works for an insurance company, which I think is like a weird choice.
It's such a strange choice. And then the doubling down of it and all the references to like, they couldn't say Geico. So like, do you work for the gecko or do you work for whatever? I was just like, what? At the same time, I am not sure, especially 10 years ago, what you could have said as a cover for a job that like required you to go all those places. But insurance is a very strange, but maybe it's so boring that nobody cares about that nobody would ask questions.
Maybe. And like I was thinking like he's a mechanic. Why doesn't he just say he's a mechanic? But like then you'd have to like
rationalize the travel.
Like where do you some kind of traveling mechanic? Like maybe he worked on like specialized cars. Like we met a guy recently at a bar that was like he what does he do? Like
he regrouts antique tile.
Yeah.
Specifically that.
This guy, he like goes around the world to do it, and he's like the best at it, the one guy that can do it. And I'm like, maybe Mac's job is traveling the world doing this one type of car fix or something. It just seems like more in line with him,
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, this episode really made me think about something. I'll give it the credit for this that I've never thought about before, which is how much do SHIELD agents get paid? Because Mac's over here, like I've been helping out, I helped out with mom and dad and things like that. Like, this idea that he's got money, but like, I would feel as if his little brother was struggling to pay the mortgage. I feel like Mac, given the line of work that he's in in the status that he has in that field, I feel like Mac is definitely pulling down $300K a year.
I don't think so.
You don't
in 2010 dollars? Nah,
dude. I mean, it's SHIELD. Like I feel like that's their secret agent, and it's like life. Like, how much does Coulson get?
I feel like government jobs notoriously don't pay very well.
Yeah, but we're government jobs in reality don't do the kind of things we're doing on this show. They have so much intelligence that like you almost need some money equals loyalty shit in there, right? Like how. What's Coulson making?
Okay, like DeFoster the Robot in the comments is bringing up the fact that in like Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Sam can't even get a loan, and he's an Avenger. So like,
right. But he doesn't have a government clearance or government job or anything like that. He's independent.
Apparently, and this is not a 1-for-1, but I was just like, what do Secret Service agents make? The base salary sounds like it's like sub $50K. It's like $49,000. So I cannot, and that's today money, right? And so I cannot imagine them paying them that.
$300 seems like a lot.
This is an outrage.
Maybe 100.
Yes. Then I'm outraged.
Yeah,
I'm outraged.
Yeah, 100 is apparently like the highest level. So like, but that's today money. So I'm going to say like 60, 70, but to the point, like the brother has to tell him that he's having money troubles in order for Mac to actually step in, right? Like I can understand why. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I'm just like in my mind, Mac with that information would be like, I would feel like he'd be like, okay, I can easily get you out of this situation money wise on a mortgage for this house in Naperville. I would think that Mac would have the income to do that. Maybe I'm wrong. It seems that if the most you're getting is $100K a year as a Secret Service agent, and 10 years ago, maybe I'm stretching it a little bit. But I feel like all these guys aren't getting paid enough, and I don't know, Coulson or whoever needs to shell it out.
Yeah, that's fair. Coulson, speaking of Coulson, he's really hard in this episode. He's hard on Mac, he's hard on Lincoln, which hard on Lincoln we understand. But like he calls Mac and he's like, you got to go down to South Bend, Indiana, and he's he's just like he's being like really dad, but in a dad way that I don't like. Like when my coach Kenny in college would be like, I'd be like, hey, a really important movie is coming out the night of our weekly show that we do every week. I'm gonna go to the movie, and he'd be like, well, you do what you think is right. And that's and I hated that shit. Because and I'm only not naming the movie because it's now dead to me. But I feel like he was giving that. He's giving Coach Kenny vibes.
Yeah. It's the tough love. It's like a little guilt trippy, right?
Yeah.
It gave Coach me a tiny smidge of Office Space of like, yeah, I'm going to need you to come in and do this and like the TPS report of like, too bad you had a vacation scheduled. I'm going to need you to go to like this site,
Yeah.
It's not very understanding of Coulson, but also the job's the job, which is why they should get paid more.
They should get paid more.
And Shields makes a good point, which is the reason that insurance is the cover is because it gives Max an excuse to go near like accidents and strange things that happen, which totally makes sense. But it's still like not everything he goes to is in related to that. But it does. Did you see it? Okay, we have to talk about. They see on TV this the Watchdogs. They go to an HECU place and they shoot this goop. Yep. And then the building implodes, which is pretty dope.
Yeah, no, the implosion goop is good. I like it a lot. They also say these agencies are protected and hidden. I'm like, you're wearing a mask, dude. You're all wearing masks. Like, talk about protected and hidden. Shut up.
What did you feel when the brother was like, that was awesome?
I was like, okay, I see where we're going here. It's the thing is, okay, so like externally, being like, oh, I don't like this clandestine government shit. These guys are standing up for what I think is like a ignorant but understandable mentality for this character to have. I don't mind that element is in there. I think it's cool. I think it's responsible from a writing point of view to entertain that thought process and why do you feel this way. So I was happy to see it.
Yeah. Any other extra thoughts on that one, Dana?
I don't know if happy is the right word, but I understood the logic of also grounding it in like a family member of his, right? So it's like, oh, it's not just coming from a radical extremist who we have no connection to. This is someone who this man like is related to and I presumably loves, And so he can't just immediately reject it. Could the delivery and the kind of like arguments and the reasoning have come across a little more smoothly? Yeah, absolutely. But I understand why they did it. I just like kind of eye rolled a little bit when it happened because I was like, okay, we're doing this, we're doing it. Like, I go online.
Execution. Yeah.
I love that when Max like I gotta go. There was an accident on US 41 because US 41 like goes really far. It goes Florida to Illinois.
Oh wow.
So in where I grew up in Florida, I lived right off of 41. And so I was like, I know it.
You know that road? Oh my God.
Isn't that cute?
That's so crazy.
Love that for me. One thing he said was they're not happy just being in the comments section. That's something that we are seeing more and more as well in life.
Yeah.
Because like 10 years ago, it was very much like people were awful on the internet, but it was about just kind of like hiding, and due to where we are now, people don't have to hide anymore. They can be awful on the internet as themselves without consequence.
That's right.
So that's an interesting.
Or it's that transition of awful on the internet to if I'm awful in real life, are there consequences? Less and less these days,
Exactly.
So, yeah, but back then, still the creepy stocky, like
Yep.
Daisy, Mac, and Fitz are scoping out the scene. So this implosion tech was created by Howard Stark, and it was the nitramine that we saw in Agent Carter in season 1. So we've seen this tech before, which is cool when they tie those in. Even though like this was a while ago that we saw it on Agent Carter, it wasn't the most recent season.
Yeah. I picked up on it. And I like it's all connected, guys.
Oh,
Remember when?
Remember when? It's all connected. Yeah. And we're still like a month out from Agent Carter being canceled. So.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't know at this point that ain't coming back.
They don't know that Bobby and Hunter are toast. So very sad.
We find out that Blake was obsessed with the nitramine. And then I really like this like reveal of him because we haven't seen him in a long time.
Yeah.
And
Is it season 1 or?
Yeah, because because Coulson mentions when Shield fell, I look for you.
Yeah.
So that would have been pre that.
Yeah.
And so I do like love this Titus Welliver character reveal. It's just like he's like bad all of a sudden. Like he's like as though he's been some bad guy this whole time. But last time we saw him, he was on their team.
It was a very abrupt return. I don't like. I'm not sure about the logic. Being like, oh God, what are we gonna do? Like last episode's gonna be so powerful. So what if we bring back Titus? Like I feel like that might have been the logic. Yeah. He hurt. You you missed him. He's back now, but he's bad. I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like somebody ran into Titus at a like a cocktail party, and he was like, "When are you having me back?"
And they were like,
"Oh no, I feel like they're like, bring him back." Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm sorry if I don't think we see him again either. So
really?
I'm pretty sure that's what this is.
That's so funny. I mean, because that makes it even worse because it already is so, as you already mentioned, like disconnected from the story of what's going on here. Like Powers Booth is like former Shield, former World Council, I should say, and he's now affiliated with the Hydra goings on. And Titus Welliver's just kind of like in this episode doing his own thing, and now he's not.
Yeah, like it would be cool, like if they were setting something up with him, but like especially like in his like kind of evil wheelchair business.
Yeah.
But no, I'm pretty sure that this is the last we ever see of that character.
Which is why it feels like such a ramp up to something. And I was like, okay, like if we're gonna kind of almost effectively like cold reintroduce him, like even within the course of the episode, I was like, are we going to do more with this? And to your point, like the A and the B story felt so disconnected, even though they were technically part of the same like events that were happening. But I was just like, what's going? I feel like he was like, I'll do a day or 2 days on set max. That's as long as you have me, like shoot what you need to shoot. Like,
yeah, it's weird because if they had to have had intentions of bringing him back, otherwise they would have just made this guy leader of the Watchdogs and then have that guy get beat and that be the end of that. So it is strange.
I don't know that we're going to see much Watchdogs.
Fucking, I mean, it's.
I understand, like, even if this is just kind of like I'm sure they're referenced again. But like, I do understand like the idea of like Inhumans. Here's how they're affecting this group of people, and I do appreciate bringing in the idea of like this is how some people are reacting to it. It makes sense, but it's not going to be some big part of the show.
No, it is not. I can feel that.
Which is fine. A scene that I do love is Gemma practicing shooting and May coming up and like giving her tips and talking about like it's really believable that Gemma's feeling the way that she's feeling, this guilt, this like feeling of needing she's had to be rescued a lot.
I don't like it
that. Okay.
only because no, I do think it's true to the character, but that plot line has just been sitting on ice over a series break. They're bringing up this trauma now, and Gemma's been in this show for like the past 6 episodes, and it's like they only have time in this episode to start working that in. It's coming way too late. I feel like she's kind of been knocked off balance because of that. So I agree with the sentiment of it. I don't like the timing of it. It doesn't make any sense.
Well, y'all were saying earlier, like, this was sort of maybe more going to be centered around Mac dealing with his feelings. And I was like, it would also make sense that she's dealing with her feelings about what has just happened to their peers. And yet it's like, oh no, just kidding. She's dealing with stuff she buried real deep from last season. And now it's just coming up. So I'm like, when will she deal with this drama?
Well, the last stuff was this season.
It was this season. It was
season.
Before the hiatus.
Yeah, it was before the hiatus.
I know, but it's still like, it's just, it feels like something very immediate has just happened that you would also want to address in this kind of cathartic, firing range session.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it makes sense. I think it's it's kind of like the Willow on Buffy. Like you can only be the one getting kidnapped so much before you have to have
it does make sense. It's just the major delay in the addressing of her trauma.
I guess. Okay. Yeah, you're right. But it is like they've been doing a lot of stuff.
Yeah, they've been busy.
So this is an interesting, I think, point to discuss is that Mac and Daisy disagree on how to handle like finding somebody from the Watchdogs. And I think like I understand where they're both coming from. I do think ultimately Mac is right in terms of like he's like, you're kind of doing Gestapo shit, but also what else are they going to do?
Well, what else? I mean, Shield's been capturing people and interrogating them in brutal ways this entire fucking show. Why is this suddenly falling on Daisy as to be the one to be like, oh, maybe you're crossing a line? Like, I feel like Shield's whole thing is like, we can cross that line, and Coulson's like, I crossed that line because he's a real one, and the people he surrounds himself are like, not malicious, and so all of a sudden it's Daisy's fault that Shield has coercive interrogation tactics. I'm like, I've seen this so many times in this show.
Yeah.
Well, it's not only that, it's like later, with Coulson and what is his name? I don't like him. Lincoln, thank you.
No one does.
With Coulson and Lincoln, Coulson is literally, and there's not, the consequences of it are not as, impactful as they would have been if like Titus had still been there. But, Coulson is like, hey, kill that man, he's willing to cross a line. It's a test, but it's still like, part of their ethos, their operating procedure, their whatever.
They're
that's
line
like,
crossers.
Hey, we have to do what we have to do in order to shield, people from the worst things out there, which again is like a moral gray area, but it's still like, this is not new, to your point. And also, like,
right,
Daisy joined them as like a hacker. She is a rule breaker. Like, why do you not expect her to utilize her skills? It's I'm with her on this.
I think the only, like, the thing about Mac that I do understand his point of view is, like, especially like 10 years ago, the idea of like, all you know about this guy you're going to take is that he talks about the Watchdogs online. Like, there's no other proof that he has any involvement at all.
Yeah.
So,
maybe it's a poor selection of target. Maybe it's moving too fast, not taking the right, not capturing the right person and interrogating them. That's reasonable. But I think where it gets muddied up for me too is this really clumsy way where they think Mac is doing the earthquake stuff. And so in a kind of a harebrained writing way, they make her even more responsible for what befalls Mac and his brother at his brother's house. And I'm like, it's just not good. It's just clumsy writing in this episode.
So we learned that Coulson wasn't happy with Lincoln's evaluation. So he's like, you're going to come with me. And this is another, like, because I don't care about Lincoln, I'm just like, I don't care if Lincoln gets evaluated by Coulson. Like,
not a big Lincoln guy.
Yeah. That's fine. Nothing else to say about that. So Matt comes home and his brother's all drunk and disappointed. He's sad because his brother had to go to work.
You make a good point earlier where you were just like, what else are you doing?
Yeah.
Are you just sitting around waiting for your brother to come hang out with you? Like, you've got to be getting into, I know you lost your job, but like.
And like, listen, I'm an only child. So like, I don't have this, like, you have a brother who's quite older than you.
Yeah.
Like, I've never seen you be like, Justin didn't call me today.
Oh, I got shit going on, like we both do. It is a little, he is just kind of in stasis until Mac walks into the room.
It felt like a dog left home alone.
Yeah.
Like waiting for their owner. And I'm like, you are capable of having a rich, fulfilling life without him there. It's gonna be okay. Like, it's fine, man. Drink that 6-pack on your own. Like, I don't know about this choice, but you could do other things. Like, I kind of get the idea of like, he said he was gonna spend this day with him and all this other stuff, and so he's disappointed when he doesn't do it. But it's the way he handles it. I was like, sir, you have larger issues that we need to unpack here. The like not telling you things, the financial management, like.
Like, you're not a child. Like, you can go ride a bike by yourself.
That's right.
Is the thing too.
Yeah.
I do appreciate, though, part of their argument where the idea of like, when something that felt really real to me, which I see with some family members that do have siblings, is when Mac's like, I helped you move them into the condo, and his brother's like, you showed up 3 days after I moved them into the condo.
Sure.
That's the kind of shit that like I witness with other people a lot, which I think is like a very real kind of a thing.
Yeah. How responsible are you to people? Are you there when you need to be there? Are you throwing money at a problem, hoping it fixes itself? Yeah, there's a lot of dicey familial business in that.
Just wrote my notes. Lincoln's being a bitch per usual. I do think a thing about Coulson in this episode and like him being like super like Coach Kenny about it is like, I think he is hurting about what happened to Bobby and Hunter. Like, he blames himself for how that all went down.
You think that? You think that's what's going on with him in this episode?
Partially, I think.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Maybe you're right. I felt like he was really, really at the end of last episode. He was sad, but also incredibly confident that it was the right move. Convinced me, convinced everybody that this was their choice and they've earned the choice, kind of thing. But I can imagine there being some residual stuff.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that?
I agree. He brings it up like a few times. It does feel a little tacked on. Like, you know, he's like, and I just lost 2 good agents to, you know, for the cause, for this and that. And it's like, but it's always the and I, not leading with that. So I think they're trying to, again, acknowledge it, but it just takes a backseat kind of when it does feel like it should be. But maybe we're also taking the kind of, you know, we have the perspective of like, this should have led to something different. And
yeah,
we know that. And yet, you know, it doesn't pan out. So I could imagine when they were writing it, they didn't know that this was actually going to be more consequential than.
The more we talk about it, the more it feels like this episode was written in a bubble. Like it just kind of floating in space.
Yeah.
Like
because again, like I've said, next week's episode is like so good.
Good.
So it's just it's interesting.
I'm so glad I'm here for this one.
Sorry you weren't in next week's episode. That was the requirement.
Yeah, dang it.
So something was said on the radio and you laughed, but I missed it. What was it?
I wasn't laughing at what was said on the radio. That country boy was driving around listening to like right-wing talk radio, and he just went, mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's just like, I was like, that's just a great moment. It made me chuckle. That's just very, very true to life. That's what I've been saying.
That's more of all of us living in our own little
immigrants. Mm-hmm.
Oh gosh. So then this man's name is Dallas, which I thought was a funny choice to name this guy. And I do like Daisy interrogating him. I like the way she blows out the windows.
Yeah, dude. Like that's just it. Honestly, like she's just doing shield stuff. That's not. I can kind of, to your point, see like maybe this wasn't the guy. Maybe, and like he didn't go to the meeting. He's associated with them online. Maybe he's not the guy. But like this is not like so off the grid of shield behavior, and like the way Fitz is just being so sad that he has to be there and hold that gun, and he just feels like, oh, this is so wrong. It all felt like a little bit of a stretch to me.
That's fair.
I loved her confrontation because I was like, she's saying the things that like, you know, marginalized people want to get to say to the Dallases, you know, and because she has power, she can do it and feel safer doing it. But I was just like, yeah, you go, girl. You say the things. Like,
all right.
She is one of the people they're looking for.
Goddamn right. I like that it's coming from her.
Yeah. Right.
I did write my notes.
Like, I don't think it.
No, but like she's also not going to be changing any hearts and minds. So we're like, you know,
she's not. That's not her business.
No,
yeah. No, exactly. that was for her to get to vent. I felt like that was like a cathartic moment for her. Was it the most efficient way to get all that info? Right. Maybe not, but it didn't matter. She needed it for her.
So back to like kind of this like little May Gemma plot, we find out that May's been pursuing Andrew. And then Gemma's like, we might be able to use the vaccine because he hasn't fully transformed yet. He seems to be the only Inhuman in the history of the show that slowly transforms into himself.
That's right.
Instead of everyone else just instantly getting their powers. But I really like May being like, don't give me hope. How did you feel about that?
No, I like this business with May for sure. You know, what are you going to do when you see him? I'm going to kill him, right? Yeah. I think that I really like when Ming-Na Wen is wrestling with the darkness, man. And so I'm interested to see how this goes. And I had thought, like in the previous episodes we've been watching, I've been thinking about Andrew, and I couldn't remember where he was or exactly when we last saw him. But I guess it was when Gemma opened the door and turned him loose on those Inhumans trying to kill her. So yeah, I look forward to more Underwood, man.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah.
Hope he comes back. I don't know. Who can say?
Could even be next episode. Yeah. You said it was a good one. I don't know. Dana doesn't know.
Dana, anything to add about poor May and her current position?
I mean, you know, I'm a Melinda May stan, so anytime she gets to do the acty choppy thing, I am here for it. And like getting to see her grapple with things and kind of break her hard exterior is always like a nice showcase moment. But at the same time, I'm like, girl, get over it. It's a man.
Yeah.
It's gonna be fine. Yeah. I know it's Blair Underwood. I know it's Blair Underwood. Yeah, that's fair. But like,
and they've been through a lot. Like it like the idea that like they got a divorce and they were getting back together, and all of a sudden he abandoned her, and she thought it was her fault, only to find out it's because he became an Inhuman. And you know, it's like it's poor Melinda. She's been through it.
She has been through it, man. And I want her to be well.
I want her to be well. So the next two bits kind of are happening at the same time. So I just kind of cut them into their own things so we don't have to talk back and forth.
Yeah.
And one is that Lincoln and Coulson in the safe house. You know, he said he's explaining that he searched for Blake, and then like Lincoln's kind of getting mad, and we're like, oh no, is Lincoln gonna is he gonna go against Coulson again? What's gonna happen?
The tension.
I do love an Ultron name drop though.
Of course you do.
I love when I can get
Drop.
I did the Leo point. Yeah. I was like, it's all tied together.
And it's been a while now. I think we're almost a year out from Ultron. I think last May was the anniversary of Ultron.
There you go.
We're getting really close to Civil War.
Yeah.
Early May, I think, is Civil War.
Yeah.
So that's a whole other business.
Jamie and I are currently in the midst of our Road to Doomsday Marvel rewatch, and we're trying to kind of hustle it along so that we're hitting Civil War when it's time for us to cover it on our Patreon. So check that out.
Makes sense.
Did the math. It should work out.
Yeah.
So let's see. Coulson, okay, well, how did you, we kind of talked about it a little bit, but what did you think in the moment where Coulson was ordering Lincoln to kill Blake? Did you think it was because I have an issue with it, but I want to hear what you have to say first.
It just never felt, it always felt like a tactic to me. I never really got the impression that Coulson wanted him to kill him. It just dramatically never felt like that was what was actually going on. Even though it didn't occur to me that he was a hologram. I knew there was something amiss, that this was a test. So now, what did you feel about it?
Well, first I want to hear what Dana has to say, if you had any thoughts on this.
Because it has been so long since I'd seen this episode, I was like, what, Coulson? That doesn't seem very Coulson-y, but okay. I mean, it doesn't, right? I was like, the stakes of the situation did not feel like it called for him to do that.
That's right.
And so I was like, oh, okay. And I thought it was going to be a moment for Lincoln to showcase like his own moral compass and be like, this doesn't seem right, you know, and instead he just follows orders like a dum-dum, which I know Coulson appreciated, but I was like, really? Okay.
That's what gets me about it, because Coulson was like, this is a test. I'm going to test to see if you're going to listen to me. And you did the right thing by listening to me, but not lethally. And it's like,
but then that's not listening, is it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's what bothers me about it, because I'm like, no, like Coulson wouldn't ask somebody to just do that, kill somebody that way.
Yeah.
He says he offered an opinion and then still listened, and I was like, but if you're, I don't know, man. If the opinion is maybe life or death, maybe we take a little more than a moment to listen to the opinion.
I think it's very true. It's one or the other, right? I need you to be a mindless soldier for me. Or I need you to go against me when you think I'm wrong. Which one are you looking for, Coulson? Is it the middle?
He got both, He got like, and that's why he liked the response that he got.
Right.
But it still was. It's just like it's like sloppy to me.
I think so too.
Because if he had done the kill shot, Coulson couldn't get mad. That's what he told him to do.
Right.
Like it was just a weird test, I think.
Not the best test.
No. But I do like the idea that like he's like, I could tell it was a hologram because
it's glitchy and he doesn't talk that much or whatever it was.
No, he interrupts more. That's what he said. He's like, I know your tactics and your speeches, you're stalling and all that stuff. I was like, are the writers calling themselves out here? Like, what's happening? Like, what's, like, what is?
Yeah.
Or, it could be a commentary on villain monologues in general, but it was just like, this is a kind of strange meta feeling moment, but all right, we'll roll with it.
Yeah.
But I feel like Titus was having a good time. Like, like, I don't know.
It's just weird.
It's just weird that he doesn't come back. I don't think.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of explained that why he was a bad guy now, and I was like, okay, but it's not great.
Yeah. One problem with doing this podcast is that I usually watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. more quickly and like faster, and so like this is like the longest it's been since I've watched these episodes, and I have to wait for you and anniversaries. So like I'm getting further away than I've ever been before from these being
recollection.
Fresh.
Yeah.
The more we go on, and it's like I know I consider myself an expert, but like sometimes you got to refresh yourself.
Yeah.
I do think I've decided that I will watch season 7 sometime before we get to it, because like it's just that's the one I've seen the least, being the newest.
Oh yeah, you think so? You want to get ahead of it?
Not
prepared?
Close to then, like sometime like maybe like between now and then. You know what I mean?
Crazy.
You don't think I should do that?
I don't care.
Okay. Okay.
All I know is the thing is I don't watch it, so you've seen it. So but if you feel like you need to do that,
I just want to watch it.
I was like, Are you asking for like we'll validate this if you need us to validate this?
That's what I want.
Okay,
You know what?
that sounds like a great idea.
Right.
That sounds like it's a Coulson test. This is all a giant Coulson test.
You're all wrong. I shouldn't be watching it. Oh no. Yeah. Fail.
Too many interruptions, not enough monologues.
Like Dana, like we have now been like I feel considered like good friends for about a year, and I do feel like we have kind of formed a dynamic, which is where like Dana, let us do this thing we shouldn't be doing.
Yeah, I'm an enabler. I'm an enabling friend, and I'm also like, hey,
Please.
come with me to do this thing none of us should be doing.
And that is why we love you.
Yes.
So all right, so Matt's brother crashes them infiltrating the Watchdogs. This whole thing where
he's just like, what are you guys doing? What is going? Was that gun?
And then Fitz gets shot in the neck with the implosion gloop, and like there is, I'm calling it implosion gloop. I know it has a name.
No, it's implosion gloop. That's
yeah. What gets me about this is like it sometimes when things like that happen, you're like, oh my god, are they actually gonna kill Fitz? But like at no point in this episode do you think they're gonna kill Fitz and implode him? But that would be a pretty sick way to kill off a main character.
There's not a lot of like the dramatic tension of this episode. Like nobody's convincing me of anything. In this episode, a lot of the times I'm on hair's breadth. Like, wow, are they about to do this? But Watchdogs is not pulling that off. I do really like Fitz's calm under pressure though. That's like Ian DeCastiger doing some very good work there of like shitting his pants, but also trying to solve the problems. Good acting.
I was also thinking a lot this episode of how, he's come so far from his brain damage, but I do think that ever since then, like he did never go back to the way he was. He still takes longer to think on things. He does solve problems differently than he used to. I do think Ian has done a really good job of not dropping what happened to him, but growing him as a new kind of version of himself.
That's really interesting. I guess that tracks. I hadn't thought about it, but I bet you're right. Yeah.
Great. Well, thank you for agreeing with me. I do love the moment though where Fitz is like, he said suspend. That's a science word this guy wouldn't know.
That's right.
I like that helped him figure out the problem.
Yeah.
Like this guy's too fucking stupid to know what suspend means.
Yeah.
That part of his reasoning has not failed him. He's like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I know a dumbass when I see one.
Yeah. And then I just put in my notes, Fitz is okay. We solved that problem.
Easy peasy.
What was it? What do they call it? Freezy gun? Yeah. Is that the scientific term?
Yeah, nitrous.
No, nitrous.
Liquid nitrogen.
Liquid nitrogen.
Yeah. Which they, of course, just happen to stock on the ship.
It's in there in the thing.
Yeah,
it's in the kit.
It makes sense that it was in that little thing in case they need to freeze somebody who's doing inhuman stuff in that little box. They use that little box stuff. I buy it.
Yeah. I'm fine with this. I'm fine with that. So they realize that the Watchdogs want an inhuman, and they think the inhuman is Mac.
Because for dumb reasons.
Yeah, he's a big guy.
They're like, you
gotta be inhuman.
And I'm like, why did you think?
Not this little unassuming girl.
Yeah. Is that what's going on? I don't know.
That's what he said. That's literally
Yeah. He says, if we'd known it was you, like we would have picked you as the target. I was like, well, that would have been really stupid, but okay.
Yeah.
So I do like this scene, the Mac and his brother going through the house together.
It's a good action scene.
Yeah, it's just a cool action scene. It's cool. I like watching the brother get to watch his brother in action, kind of a thing. Like I think like it's cool to watch Mac like take charge in this way, like because he is, I love the line where he's like, I'm a mechanic, I hate this stuff.
Yeah.
But he always gets thrown into it.
Yeah.
Because he's a big old dude.
And he gets his axe.
Yeah.
That's. I wish they had not like. I don't know if it was like over-explain the moment and be like, well, we know this house like the back of our hands. Like, let's just come on, okay? Like, or just be like, he's really good at this, Like, he doesn't need to explain to it. Maybe it's to make his brother feel better, but I was just like, just throw him in darkness. It's fine. You don't have to.
I did want to talk some more shit on the Watchdogs because they were like, the brother's like, they get to the back door and he's like, that's it, we can leave. And Matt's like, no, wait, get down. Like, obviously there are people waiting on the other side of that door. And he looks through the blinds and they're just standing in the light with their guns. Like no cover whatsoever. Like there's literally a tree in the frame, but they're just standing out there, like illuminated, waiting. And I'm like, you guys are stupid.
Yeah, they're not good at what they're supposed to be doing. But the most important part of the episode, Mac gets to make his shotgun axe.
Shotgun axe.
with a fucking butcher knife.
Yeah.
That's not some badass shit.
He fucked a dude up with a butcher knife.
Yeah.
It was serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hatchet.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And he got shot.
He got shot in the arm. He's going to the hospital.
It's not like he's fine.
Oh, no. Again, yeah, no. I saw where the bullet landed. I saw that he was hurt. And
Mhm.
then I was like, oh, he's okay.
Yeah. All worked out.
Yeah.
But
The stakes of this episode were like always mitigated, it felt like. You know, every time it's like, maybe this should be impending. Oh, no, we're fine. Okay, we're fine. And so I didn't feel that sense of like, is something important going to happen? No?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's see. Okay. The scene with Daisy and the brother. It's cute when she learns Alfie.
Yeah,
That's
she's like,
cute.
thanks for that.
You giggled.
I did, yeah. She was like, I can't wait till he gets out of recovery, because now it's going to be Alfie. That's cute.
I do think it was crazy that she called him Mini Mac. Like, you don't know this man. Like,
and she's also like, maybe we'll recruit you.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that doesn't happen. I feel like
That was
she
a
I
leap.
know.
being nice, but like it was a weird thing to say for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
You're a good wheelman.
Yeah, and again, this, regarding the stakes, like I thought that this all was going to culminate in like, you see, Daisy, your recklessness endangered Mac. And that kind of happened where she was like, yeah, I should have been here. Like, that was the extent of that plot line. I was like, okay. And we're out the door.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then we get the post-credit scene. Turns out it was all just a distraction by Malik.
Yeah. Well, it felt like a distraction.
This whole episode was a distraction by Malik.
Yeah.
Yeah. We see Blake in the wheelchair.
For the last time, probably.
Yeah, Deathlock fucked him up permanently, it seems. And then what did they take from the ATCU? Like a giant warhead?
Yeah, that was such a weird thing. I was like, I can't wait to see what's in this thing. I'm like, a bomb.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yep.
Neat. Big old bomb.
Classic
I
villain
couldn't
shit.
remember what it was. I couldn't remember, and I'm like, oh, because it's boring. That's why I couldn't remember. Like, I thought it was gonna be a person. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, I mean,
A person,
I'm sure
a
it's
serum,
very,
anything, you know.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm sure it's a very special bomb, but showing
None of this
us the
Stark
bomb-
shit bombs.
Yeah, no one of this secondhand Stark bullshit. I want the big bombs. But like, yeah, seeing it, I was like, that was a very unexciting reveal. It's just like a big old bomb.
Yeah. Dana, anything from this episode that we didn't mention that you were like, I have to talk about this?
No, I think we got. Hold on. I mean, again, to me, the hologram monologue thing was just like, what are we doing here? And then the reveal that he's in the chair, and I was like, okay, so he can program a hologram to like talk like him. You know, keeping in mind this was 10 years ago, and so, and I know some of the technology on the show, obviously, like will allow or has allowed us to do this type of thing before. But I was just like, for a guy you had there for maybe 2 days, why is this what we're doing with this? And again, the tests, I don't like Lincoln. That is, I just want to reiterate that.
Yeah.
Does nothing for me, that guy.
Yeah, that's in the chat. Is like an intercontinental missile is boring. I'm like, well, yeah.
Compared to the other stuff, yes.
Yeah.
I mean, we had sticky implosion goo on a neck.
Yeah.
You know, that's
It's
that's
just kind
shit.
of basic.
Yeah, we gooped
Basic
a whole
is the
building
word.
into a little ball.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
I do love the moment where Mac's like, are we going to take that? And Fitz is like, it's a building.
Did you work?
Yeah,
you
he's like,
working
it's
out?
100,000 like tons, you know, like,
Yeah.
can you move that?
Anything else you wanted to add?
No, I think I said on my business.
Cool. Do you have an episode MVP?
It's nobody's best, but I do think I'll give it to Fitz for complimenting him again on just like that's kind of acting where it's like I'm panicking, but I have to fix this, and he's really good at like terse energy like that, and so I'm gonna give it to Fitz.
I'm gonna give it to just like the combo of Daisy and Fitz. I like seeing them together. They're not a pairing that we see a lot, and I like the dynamic that they have going. I like just getting a little bit of that. So.
Daisy's close for me too because of her interrogation. Dana, I think you're probably gonna go Daisy for that reason.
Oh no, I'm going shotgun axe.
Yeah,
My MVP is the shotgun axe.
Answer. Dana won that one. That is the correct answer. It is the shotgun.
Shotgun axe all along.
Very like just like if you like went up to any Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fan, you're like shotgun axe, you'd be like shotgun axe. Like it's just dope. It's just really cool.
This is a great idea.
One thing, I was looking at like the history of the episode, and I did catch Daisy referencing damage control.
Yeah.
Which is like only gotten bigger within the MCU, but I think damage control. I think the first time we actually see them is in Homecoming.
Yeah, with Keaton and stuff.
Yeah. So we haven't gotten to that.
We haven't gotten to that. I guess that's
Civil
interesting.
War, because Civil War introduces Spider-Man.
Right. So we're maybe this is our first MCU mention of damage control.
Yeah, I think it might be.
Yeah. Because damage control intercedes Michael Keaton's whole business operation in the beginning of Spider-Man.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
Also, apparently, according to the notes, there was like somebody mentioned a gang war in Hell's Kitchen, and I missed that. Which is a reference to Daredevil season 2, but like I totally did not hear that.
I didn't
but the
hear it
wiki
either.
said that they referenced.
Is it maybe when like the commentator on the radio is like
That's
offhandedly
what I said.
saying?
I was like, what?
I don't remember that. Yeah.
They're saying in the comments it was on the news. So yeah, I just like
missed it.
But that would have been a reference to Daredevil season 2.
Dope.
So yeah, it is all kind of coming. Hashtag it's all connected. Let's see. Okay, we're gonna kick Tony out for a few minutes. So before we do that, Dana, tell the people where they can find you and watch your interviews and your business and all that stuff.
Yes, you can find me at We're Watching Blood with a question mark and an exclamation point. So it's We're Watching Blood or the DHK across all the platforms. Also find me on YouTube for sure, because most of the fun stuff's on there.
She's a great follow. Tony, you want to say some thank yous?
Yes, thank you to Stephanie at Eclectic Muses on socials for doing our artwork. Thank you to Ryan Mira of Yellow Pills at Yellow Pills Music on Instagram for doing our theme music. Thank you to our producer Maria. Thank you, producer Maria.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and thank you, Dana. It's always fun to talk to you on this or in life.
Love you, Tony.
Love you.
Also, I just want to say congrats to producer Maria, who got engaged.
Yeah, producer Maria's engaged.
Oh my God, congrats, producer Maria.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So send your love to Maria in the chat.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
She's gonna live life a half mile at a time.
Quarter mile.
Fuck. Fucked it up.
You can't get the.
I gotta leave the room. Take my mics. Take my ears.
Oh goodness. All right. He's walking away. He's going.
Okay.
All right. Do you have a question?
Yeah, we for sure see the Watchdogs again. I feel like
we do.
Okay. I was like, I don't know how much to give away right now. I don't.
I was more saying that like they're not like they don't become like a big bad
which
kind of a thing. Like
it feels like they were getting set up for that. Right.
Yeah.
And then
we absolutely see them again and they're a problem.
To your right, like we don't see Titus again. And it to me, it felt like, especially with that end tag of the episode, they were setting this up to be like, he's gonna do something with the Watchdogs. It's gonna be this all like complicated plan. And then it's just like, no.
Yeah. And that's like sometimes I won't tell Tony if someone's not coming back or whatever. Like I kind of implied last week that we'd never see Bobby and Hunter again, but like we will see Hunter one more time, kind of a thing, like, that kind of stuff. But when it comes to something like this, it's like I might as well tell him, because by the time the show's over, he's not gonna remember.
He's also a smart cookie. He'll figure out that this was not a consequential like cameo, which is why I don't fully know why they picked. I mean, I guess.
I don't know when Bosch was on the air. Was this like a big Bosch time?
I think Bosch started in 2014. Why do I know this? I've never seen Bosch. I just want to make that very clear. But my dad loves Bosch. I think it's one of those shows that like comes back every few years, and so they did like a few versions of it. Right. So I think it started prior to his appearance on this. So maybe they were like crossover, even though it's different studios. I don't know. Bring in the Boschies.
Yes, tell us, Bosch fans. One thing about this episode that is interesting and how it plays later is Mac and his brother. Like we do not see his brother again in terms of this actor, but in season 7 they go back in time to the 80s, and Max in an alternate timeline, and Max's parents or Mac's parents are murdered, and him and his brother as kids are left orphaned.
Oh my God.
Like in an alternate timeline. So like it's bizarre. It's awesome, but it's like crazy. So while we don't see the character
this version of him,
like we see him kind of as a kid. And like this, so like sorry, his parents get murdered in the 70s, and then they end up going to the 80s. It's a whole business. This is why I want to rewatch season 7.
I was gonna say, I think I fully support you rewatching season 7, because like for me it's also like there's a book series where the seventh one, which shall not be named, is like the thing that I only read it once because I was like, I'm done, and so then my memory of it is, and not that I need to ever recall it now because
I know.
But I understand the logic of being like, I've only done this once. Like, if we're gonna do this, and I'm the expert,
I mean,
should be
to be
the
fair,
expert.
I've watched it more than once. I've seen season 7 more than once, but
recently,
less than every other season because
just because the accumulation of
exactly time. We keep watching season 1 every time a new season would start, I'd rewatch the whole thing to build up to it. So the earlier ones would get more.
I
time.
fully support this.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I can't wait for Tony to see what's coming. But the actor we have next week is I think I did tell Tony he's only in this episode, but what Tony won't know was that this character, the actor who's coming on next week, like plays a huge important role in season 5. His daughter becomes a big part of season 5. And so I'm curious, when Bjorn's on next week, I'll probably kick Tony out and just ask him, do you know that your character is sets up a lot.
Did you know when they when they first had you on that this was going to end up being
did you watch again, it doesn't really come into play for a while. So it
feels like maybe this is scope wise what they wanted to do with Titus, right? Where it's we have this character, we bring him back, and then we're going to turn him into a big whatever instead of this, whatever he was in this.
I don't know for sure, but I really have to imagine that they expected to bring him back.
But spoilers, he didn't. Obviously, we don't have to protect Tony. He's not in the room right now, but
No, we can say whatever we want.
I know.
Fuck you, Tony. No, he's the best. So again, everybody. Oh wait, anything else? Any spoiler business? You guys start catching up now. You got to start watching the show. So
I know, and so I was looking at it, and I cheated. I read a bit of season 4 just to make sure I hadn't seen it, and I was like, I think I saw maybe 1 or 2. And again, now that time has passed, so this is not going to be a popular opinion. I'm a hardcore Nick Cage Ghost Rider fan. I was one of 3 people in the theater when the second one came out. And so when they said, for season 4, they were going to bring Ghost Rider on, and I was like, but that's a movie character and not.
Right. Yeah. But it's also they don't play the same Ghost Rider.
No, I know. And they're and it's this guy who I'd never heard of. Not that I should have to have heard of him, but now this many years later realizing, that's Gabriel Luna. I'm like,
who I really hope we can get him
on.
He's great. He really is great. And just I've met him a couple times because of all the Shield stuff. And he's just he's a really sweet guy. Really so nice guy. Good for him. Yeah. It's a bummer that he didn't get to do it more because that was, I think, the initial plan. But I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. Season 4 is my favorite season. So you should get in that. But I think after season 3, to me, it's a lot of people don't like season 6, but I think it's fun. So I'm just saying, catch up. Let's stop.
Okay. Tony and I will have to be on the same team of we'll have to protect Dana at some point because I'll be I don't know what happens.
I have spoiled some things for you, but there's still lots of good things.
I have the memory of a goldfish. I will forget between now and then.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. So let's say here, what's going on? Okay, so again, I'm just gonna say it one more time. Our next show is Monday, April 6th at 1 p.m. Pacific time. We got Bjorn Johnson on the show. That's gonna be really fun. Keep an eye out on Instagram because sometimes things change. Last week I said today's show was gonna be at noon, and then it wasn't. So keep Instagram's the best place to follow us for updates at LitoPod. Also, Tony and I just made a video ad for TeePublic, and we had fun with that. It's also on our Instagram page. But if you go to my Instagram at Jamie Jirek and the link in the bio, use my link in the bio. Order yourself some t-shirts because there's a lot of cool Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. designs on there. Some of them made by Stephanie, who did our artwork, and some of them made by Sari, who has been on the show multiple times. So go get yourself some S.H.I.E.L.D. merch. I'm going to buy Tony a Chun-Li versus Melinda May shirt that's on there.
Wow, what a matchup.
Yeah,
I
know.
Oh my God, I think Melinda May would win.
Yeah, I think so too. Everyone's always like Melinda or Mulan. I'm like, you're leaving out a good one, Same with Fennec Shand, but you're leaving out the OG.
Yeah.
All right, Dana, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We love you so much. This was really fun. Thanks to everybody who was chatting away. Thank you to Maria, and we will see you guys next Monday.